The Brower Award recognizes leadership and commitment to preserving and stewarding mountain regions worldwide. Now, raise your hand, both here and at home. I'll know if you're at home. If you have been to the Bears Ears National Monument and enjoyed the immense beauty there. Tonight, we honor Josh Ewing. Josh was an instrumental force in the battle to protect Bears Ears as a national monument, not only in designation and maintaining that status, but now in the lawsuits to reverse Trump's stripping of that protection. As the executive director of Friends of Cedar Mesa, a nonprofit working to ensure that the Bears Ears public lands are respected and protected, he championed the creation of the Bears Ears Visitor Center in Bluff, Utah, to educate visitors to the area and to provide opportunities and good stewardship. As the area's leading climber and new route protagonist, he has done a lot to rally the climbing community to the awesomeness of this wild and magnificent landscape, and to the role that we all must play in its protection and stewardship. For his personal work and leadership in protecting and preserving one of America's most iconic and wild spaces, we are here tonight to celebrate Josh Ewing.
Thanks so much, Mo. It's an honor, really, to be introduced by one of my climbing heroes. I don't know how many times I've watched Stump, and I'm always thinking, like, when I'm suffering on my project, like, how much perseverance you had. And I'm really thankful to the American Alpine Club, not just for giving me this award tonight, but for elevating the importance of conservation in the climbing community. You know, the desert of southeastern Utah has really shaped my life in a lot of ways. And it's been my privilege, and I use the word privilege purposefully, to put up, dozens of routes in the Bears Ears area and stand on the top of never before summited towers. I've been truly blown away by the skills of the ancient Pueblo climbers who made their ropes out of yucca and easily climbed 5'10" to build the cliff dwellings that are all throughout Bears Ears. And like many of you, I've been transformed by my experiences, by my adventures, and sometimes my misadventures on our public lands. But these experiences were born largely out of my own personal selfish pursuits. And I've learned that me going climbing is not an act of conservation. Just loving a place really isn't enough. Our public lands were once the homelands for indigenous peoples, and they aren't our personal playgrounds. It's a bare minimum that all of us become experts in leaving no trace and visiting with respect. But even beyond that, I'm really proud of our climbing community for stepping up to build responsible trails and clean up climber trash and trash left by other people as well. But I believe our experiences and our privileges climbing should motivate us to go a few pitches higher. For a long time, much of the conservation in the climbing community has been somewhat self-interested. Our efforts to protect our own access. And more recently, there's been a lot of effort put into getting more people outdoors. But while climbing access and broadening our community are important, it's critical that we as climbers elevate our actions as part of the broader conservation community, that we work hard to protect landscapes that are beyond the cliffs and mountains that we love to scale. Just because we can't see a uranium mine or an oil well from our crag doesn't mean we shouldn't be engaged to ensure that the cultural landscapes nearby aren't destroyed. We need to be good partners and good neighbors, and we may even need to sacrifice some of our access out of sincere respect for places that are sacred to Native American peoples. While I've dedicated most of the last decade of my life to protecting Indian Creek and Cedar Mesa and Bears Ears, this movement is far larger than me. I've been humbled to be recognized tonight alongside former Brower Award members, award recipients like Yvonne Chenard and Sally Jewell, both of whom were true champions for protecting Bears Ears and other threatened lands. And I'm also grateful that Bears Ears has become a real turning point for the outdoor recreation community to be a force for conservation. Leaders like Peter Metcalf, brands like Patagonia and the North Face, and organizations like the American Alpine Club and Access Fund have stepped up like never before. And there's a growing recognition that we climbers, we're not just fringe dirt bags, right? We're standing behind indigenous tribal nations. Our voices matter, and we are making an impact. But let's be sure that we set even higher goals to save our planet and preserve wild places for generations that are yet unborn. We can and must do more. And with your support for the American Alpine Club tonight, in these uncertain times, you're helping to do your part. Thank you.